Just a quick video, this one. The trumpets for my carburetors are very solid. Now, I could probably just heat them up, slip them back on, put them back in, jobs are good. But I thought, while I've got the time, what I'd like to do is have a go at softening them, so that they're easier to get in and out in the future. One of the ways that I've been looking at is using Wintergreen essential oil. Apparently there's two ways of doing this. One is a little bit of this with water and boil them for a while. There's a danger that if you have the water too hot or they fall on the bottom of whatever you're boiling them in, that they could get damaged. The other way is to mix it with rubbing alcohol, a mixture of, I believe, 25% of this to 75% of that, 3 to 1, and leave them in for a number of hours. In fact, some people have said leave them in for weeks if you want to, it won't make much difference. I think that there's an issue that potentially at first they swell up a little bit, but when I say swell up, I think it's very, very slight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a mix in handy little jar, just enough to do one, to be honest. I'm going to give them a good wash in warm water first of all, let them dry, and then I'm going to put one in, and I think I'm going to go first of all with about 3 hours, see how it is after 3 hours. If it's still not, soft enough to what I want, I might put it in for another 3. I'm not intending to do it over weeks, and as I've got plenty of time on my hands, I can just wash them, dab them in. If it takes a couple of days while I'm doing other things, it doesn't really matter. So I'll get these washed, I'll get it mixed up, and I'll report back on when I put them in and what happens after 3 hours and 6 hours, say. I've made the mix. You can judge, this is a 500ml bottle and this is 100ml. So you can judge how much I've used. I've used about 240 and 60. That actually gives me 4 to 1, not 3 to 1. I don't think there's a big science to this. When you mix it up, it looks a bit like soluble oil. Give everything a nice good clean. Obviously I've got others to test against, and all I'm going to do now, it's just coming up to about 12 o'clock. Push this in. Not quite covered, so all I'm going to do is shove a little bit more rubbing alcohol in just to make sure it does get covered. I think that'll do it. Give it a bit of a shake. Smells nice, it smells of peppermint. Now apparently both of these things are safe to put on your skin and such like. Obviously you wouldn't drink it. I would definitely look up any hazard sheets for these if I was going to, if you're going to use them. Don't take my word for it that it's okay. It's certainly the kind of thing I've already done, and I'm pretty confident these are safe. So let's see what it looks like in 3 hours' time. Right, well, that's 3 hours. I moved it outside because Wintergreen has a peppermint smell, and if you like peppermint, you'll enjoy doing it inside. So, brought it up. You can see how it has separated out. So it's got the alcohol at the top, the Wintergreen at the bottom. Now what I have done is I've come out, give it a shake. So it hasn't all been sat in the Wintergreen all the time, it has been mixed up. Remember, that's what they were like. So let's see after 3 hours. I'll put gloves on as well to prevent the smell, really. Well, I can definitely say there's a change. Now, I can't say it's majorly soft yet, but it is definitely soft compared to how it was. What I'm going to do now, I'll shove it back in, yeah, give it another 3 hours, see what happens. I don't know if that's necessary or not. Never seen it mentioned about the separation before. Right, well that's about another 3.5 hours. It's gone colder and chillier. So let's see what's happened. I'll give it a few shakes here and there. Oh, smell of peppermint. So, oops, let's see. Well, I'm very happy with that. I think that's soft enough. It's not necessarily soft everywhere though. What I think I'm going to do actually, I'm going to leave it overnight now and see what it's like in the morning. Yeah. I think compared to, it is absolutely fabulous. But yeah, I'm going to see what it's like in the morning. Yeah. If they are swelling at all, doesn't seem to be much. So, pop it back in, see how it goes on. It's now been in about 20 hours. And that feels really soft now. Well, what I would have expected if it was a new one. Comparing it to, and literally I'm using the same. Obviously the thicker rubber is still got the firmness to it. Size wise, definitely looks a tidgy bit bigger, but that could just be in my head. So I'd say that was pretty successful. What I'm going to do now is leave that to dry off and then clean it and see how it goes over time. I'm going to pop the other one in. I might have to top up the rubbing alcohol a little bit, but I think from a softness perspective that's been very successful. I'm going to call that a success. I'll do the rest. I'll probably make some comment about whether they've stayed soft or how soft they've stayed in a future video, probably one where I'm balancing the carbs when I've put the airbox back on. Well, I hope that's been interesting to you. One of the things that I would say is I could have probably bought a new set of 4 of these for the same cost as the materials. However, I think I can use that again and again and again, so it's probably is worth it from that perspective. Thanks for watching.